Thank you for taking your time doing this interview. We not have seen us for such a long time, and now you
Yeah.
have a new team together with Triburn, and you're just coming back from the Elite 16 in Uberlandia in Brazil, and you played quite good. Tell us a little bit how was the tournament for you, and how satisfied are you with the progress until yet?
Thanks, Niels. Yeah, it's obviously a new team, me and Triborn, and we've been kind of slowly getting better every event, which has been exciting. And Uberlandia was probably our best one yet, and yeah, we played top teams and played them all tough. Obviously, quarterfinal didn't go as we wanted, but to just get through the qualifier even is hard enough in Elite 16s, and then to beat the top Dutch guys, and then push Brazil, and had a tough one with Sweden, but I think we played pretty well for the most part, and I'm excited for the trajectory that we're on. Obviously, always want more, um, but
Sure.
yeah, it's an exciting team. I like playing with Tri, and yeah, it's definitely been a progression where we keep getting better every tournament. So obviously our goals are the Olympics, and to hopefully have a good chance to medal at the Olympics. So we're taking the right steps right now, and excited to just keep building basically.
The first Elite 16 have been in Tepic. There you also need to play in the qualification. Then you lost in pool play. How difficult is it to have the pressure to play in the challenger events? Quite good to have the possibility to play at the Elite 16. And how much is the difference between playing the challengers and playing the qualification at Elite 16?
Yeah, I mean, Elite 16 is just another animal, I think, in my opinion. I think with the top, 10, 15 teams in the world, um, it's just the level is so high around the world right now. I think if you look at the teams that are in qualification for Elite 16, you're seeing teams that win multiple tournaments that are now in qualification. And I think if you look at Ostrava, even I looked at the list, and you know, there's some phenomenal teams that are going to be playing in qualification, including like Nikolai, Kotafafa, like the Dutch guys, uh, I think Andre George. They're all in the qualification. So just like the qualification of elite is to me like it's almost like the medal round. It's like those teams that are at the top of the qualifier would be medaling at the challengers. So it's there's a lot of depth around the world, and I think the challengers are great tournaments as well. They're just kind of generally missing the top 10 or so teams, you'd think, but I'm interested to see if in Europe the challengers maybe they're going to be a little bit heavier weighted with all the good European teams. I think those are still going to be really tough tournaments, and obviously it's just the way the system is now. It makes it pretty tough. Pretty tough to continually do well with only 3 out of 4. You need to basically perform every tournament. So we're playing these elite qualifications, playing top teams, and needing to get out of the qualifier. And then even if you get out of the qualifier, you don't really make much progress unless you get out of your pool and actually get some wins. So the system is super tough for sure. And there's no athlete that I know that actually enjoys the system now. So
Okay.
it's tough when you're doing this for your livelihood, and there's only 10 teams. There's basically 11 teams that get to play straight main draw, and anybody who loses in the qualification is basically, as you know, it's a catastrophe for any of us to lose in a qualification. So
Yeah.
the level is really high all around the world, basically is what I'm saying, and challengers are really quite high as well. Elite's just another animal. When you get those, you add in those ten really elite teams. It's yeah, that's just kind of where the sport's at right now. Nobody loves it, but it's just what we're dealing with, and the goal is to get enough good results to qualify for the Olympics. So it's just kind of stuff we have to deal with.
Is there a point where you can calculate when breaking the threshold that you have enough points to not need to play in the qualification for the Elite 16 anymore? So, do you have a goal or a
Um,
calculation?
it's hard with all the new with all the system. It's hard to know everything. I think like what we got in our last tournament was a fifth place. So I think if we were to consistently get fifths or better, you'd probably be in the elites. But anything below that, I don't think you'd be in the elites. If you got ninths, and fifths, I don't think you're in the elites. You need to basically be fifth or better every tournament. And that's when you're playing all the best teams. So otherwise you won't be main draw. So it's a really tough system for sure. But it's just, you got to step up and continue to play well and hopefully not have bad results. And if you do, you only can have one bad result. So yeah, it is what it is. You just kind of take it as you got to qualify and then you got to play and sometimes play. Like we played 7 matches last tournament. And so we were feeling it at the end for sure. So there is also an advantage to being in the main draw of an elite as well, just physically. But yeah, we're working our way up that way, and that's our goal. Our goal is to be a top 10, top 8, top 5 team. Not have to play those qualifiers and maybe only play the elite events. That would be the goal. And so we're working our way, and hopefully Ostrava at our next one, we can make another step in the right direction. Looking for fifths or better, basically.
Yeah. And between the many events, Challenger and Elite 16, do you have time to have, so to say, serious practice? Because as a new team, I assume that there are some points you need to work on. So do you have time? And the additional question then, who is your permanent coach, for the ones who don't know?
Yeah, our permanent coach is Leandro Pinheiro. He's a Brazilian. He coached Trevor and Tri last year, and he coached Brazil for many, many years. He's fantastic, and we really like him. But yeah, I mean, in terms of training, it's obviously tricky depending on the schedule. Like we played 3 tournaments this month in April, and so we were traveling from one to another and getting
Yeah.
a couple of trainings in between, and so it's not super easy to kind of train a lot of the stuff that we need. But we kind of started in January, so we've kind of gotten a base of what we need. Obviously now we're identifying things that we need to improve more on. So that's kind of, a lot of times we'll even when we're tired or the body's not feeling great, after a long trip, we'll still go and hit the sand, but maybe we won't make it as intense, but maybe it'll be a little bit more about the X's and O's and less about the physical side of it all, because it's, we do need to make sure we take care of our bodies. So this week, for example, that's kind of what our focuses are. We're not focusing on competing. We're not focusing on getting other teams to make us play matches, because we've played a lot of matches, but instead we're working on what our defensive system looks like, what we want to change with our offense inside out. Sitting down, watching video, taking it to the court, and kind of working on the X's and O's. That's kind of the focus.
On how much percentage, from your point of view, are you already as team?
Yeah, it's hard to know. I think at times this year we've played at a level that we want to be, and we're striving to be. Like our game against Andre George last week, we played pretty flawless volleyball.
Yeah.
And so like if we can play that level for extended periods of time, then I believe we can beat everybody. But yeah, some other games, our next match we played after that, it was the opposite. We super good, and then we kind of struggled. So overall, we're getting more and more consistent. I don't know if there's a percentage on it, because I don't know yet what the final ceiling is of our team. I think both of us are good players, and both of us have a lot to bring, but I think that we push each other a lot. So I think that our end product can make both of us be on better teams than we've ever had before. So I don't know
Okay.
what the ceiling is of that. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's I know is that we're getting stronger every tournament, and we're getting more consistent match to match basis. And I've seen now in multiple matches the high level stuff that's coming out, and that's exciting. And I think if we can get that high level stuff coming out a little more regularly, we're going to win a lot more matches in the main draw of the elites, and hopefully, get on that podium. That's the whole goal, but yeah, the trajectory is looking good.
Going a little bit back in time, the last years, or the last year, you played with CU, and you already said that Paris 24 is a big goal. What was the main reason to say, I maybe think to go with a new partner, which is a Tri? And so what was the main reason to enter the team setup, or the team with Theo, where you already also had good results in the World Champs, if I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
wrong?
yeah. No, I had a great couple years with Theo. We were strong, very strong team, and we got along really well. So it was a very, very tough decision for me. Um, it it's just like a combination of everything you're looking for in the sport, and I think I was just looking at try, and I didn't actually think of it as an option, but it kind of came up as an option for me, and just open-minded about it after the season to have some conversations,
Yeah.
just looking at try, looking at his work ethic, what his goals are, where he's at in his career, what he's done up until this point. You could see that our values were very similar, that we both want the same things, we both want to work, we both want to be in the gym together, we want to be in the sand together, we want to be putting in more time than you would think. So for me, it was a very tough decision, but I think like it came down to values. It came down to where I think I could be with Try by the time Paris comes, as opposed to like where I thought me and Theo would be by that point. It just, to me, it
Okay.
gave me more opportunity for growth as a team, more just based on like our core sets of values and what we want to achieve as a team. And I can see it already, like how focused we are and how much we want this, both of us. And that's nothing against Theo whatsoever, but it comes down a lot of times to personality and what fits each partner the most. And for me, it's always been that guy that like Try, that wants to just like go put his head down and go outwork every single team and see what happens and lay it all out there basically. Um, so it was not easy, but yeah, that's kind of the gist of most of it. Me and Theo are still good buddies, and everything's okay. And he's in a good situation with Trevor as well. So um,
Yeah. Who
it
knows?
this stuff gets complicated, and I know a lot of people were like, "Wow, why would you do that?" But I'm really excited with where we're at, and I think our team is built for the long run, and being able to do a full Olympic run where we can stay healthy and keep battling and taking out top teams and working our way up the ladder. I just see that, and I also saw it before teaming up with Try, that I could see it's something that we're both super hungry for. And that's when I was like, you know what, this could be something that could fit me really well as a long-term partnership, and something that give myself the best chance to get a medal at the Olympics. So Tries in the same boat, and it's been a good fit so far.
Okay, perfect. And thanks for this open answer of everything, because it's a business, and
Yeah,
sometimes it's good to just ask. And for sure, some people are sad, some are happy. So that's
yeah.
you,
It's hard to take the business side out of it sometimes.
yeah.
It's a business, and you got to do what's best for that side of it. And yeah, there's a lot of personal stuff behind it as well. But yeah, for me, it was a business decision. So
Do you already discovered something about Try you have not known before?
I've known Try for quite a while, but obviously when you live with a guy and then start training full time with a guy, it's a little different. But I think the thing I've noticed most probably is that he's Hawaiian. He's on Hawaiian time sometimes, and like when we get the ball, when we get to the courts, and he's like the most professional partner I've ever had by far. Like he'll be in the gym, he'll be working his tail off and just like ready to go always. But when we're outside of volleyball, he's very like chill and relaxed, and walks extremely slow and just kind of like going with the flow. And I'm like
Okay.
waiting. I'm like in the airport waiting for him, like way ahead. I'm like, dude, we got to make our flight. He's just kind of slowly sauntering over and on the Hawaiian style life. So it's good for me because it kind of slows me down and makes me appreciate things a little bit more. And I like that side of it all. But yeah, I'm also learning more and more as I go. He's a great guy and a good buddy, obviously now, and we both have daughters that are the same age, and so it's easy to kind of hang out and enjoy like company. So yeah, it's been great.
And but both of you talking with the referees if they're at the discussion, or is it more your turn?
It depends what it's about, but yeah, I'm the captain a little more. I'm a little more of the analytical one, and he's
Okay.
Tries kind of like the guy that just needs to be in the flow and playing, and I can kind of give him some ideas of what I want him to do. I try to break the teams down a little bit more, and then he's just like the kind of guy that wants to just go play and figure it out and go block a ball. And so that's the kind of the dynamic is I'm kind of helping him out a little bit that way, but then he's more like instinctual and just kind of going with it. And whereas I'm a little more analytical and trying to figure out, you know, what the next play is going to be, he'll just kind of like read the play and figure it out. So I think the balance between him and I is really good. And I mean, so far we've only been getting better at in our block defense and side out. So it's been good.
You already said that the Paris 24 for sure is the goal, and I think it's on. I don't think I know that's your first run to the Olympics for the American Federation. Like we all know, you have been playing for Canada in Rio already with Ben. The qualification this time, it's a different nation for you, but also the whole teams changed. How do you see the qualification for Paris, and who do you expect to be your biggest rivals for the two spots?
You know, there's 6, 7, 8 teams that are all would love to. They would all love to go to qualify for the Olympics, and only 2 get to go, assuming 2 qualify, obviously. But yeah, you know, in Canada it was different because we just had 1 or 2 teams, so there was no country quota to worry about getting into the Olympics. But I think you know, for me, I've been to the Olympics, and I wanted to put myself in a situation where I could go there as like a medal threat and a medal contender. That was kind of the goal. And so playing for the US, it's like, you know, if you're going to be playing for the US, you need to be one of those top 2 teams if you're going to be a medal threat anyways. So it's almost like for us, it's almost better if we focus more on just ourselves, and like if we become the best team that we think we want to be, then the rest of the US doesn't matter, because, you know, we want to become a top 5 team in the world. We want to be elite main draw. We want to be getting medals at these events. And my belief is that if we do that, then there won't be any other US team that would be in our way anyways. But obviously, you know, it's hard not to think about the other guys that are right behind you or right in front of you in the Olympic standing, in the Olympic race. So I mean, if I had to give you a couple teams that I would be most concerned about,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously trying to take the spots. Obviously, Miles Partain and Andy Benish are young, and so they keep getting better and better, and they're really, really talented already and have had some good results. So I would say they're the number one team to kind of that we would be worried about, I guess, if we had to worry about more US teams. So I think they're kind of the biggest competition. And then obviously Trevor and Theo are a very strong team that could qualify as well. And then, you know, you're seeing other, you know, Chase Budinger and Miles Evans did really well last event as well. And then Taylor, you never know when they're going to go off and do super good too. So there's a lot of good teams, but yeah, if I had to give like one, that would be probably the team that I think could continue to improve and like push through the Olympic, because the Olympic race is difficult, and it's a long process, and your body goes through so much and you travel so much. And I think like, yeah, it'll be interesting to see who are the 2 standing at the end. But I'm obviously confident in our team on a world level. And then, you know, obviously we need to beat out our other American guys. But yeah, that's kind of what I would say off the top in terms of competition with the other guys. That's kind of the way I would look at it.
And as an Olympian in the past, what makes the Olympics special for you as a beach volleyball player?
I think the Olympics are, you know, the most beautiful part of sport is bringing everyone together, who are all the best at everything that they do, and showcasing it. That's the coolest part. But I think for me, as an American now, I think the coolest part would be to go and have a chance to medal. Like I said, we want to go and get a medal at the Olympics, and that would be like the next progression in my career. And yeah, that's what gets me super excited about the Olympics.
And the last question about the World Tour, it's funny that finally this year they will have a big event in Montreal in Canada. So how excited and how happy are you that you can compete there?
I'm definitely a little jealous after playing for so many years in Canada. Now they finally have these events. But yeah, it's super exciting. Obviously, Montreal is pretty far away from where I grew up. But it's a beautiful place, and it's going to be an amazing event. I don't really have any information about where it's going to be yet, but I do know we're going to play. We're planning on playing the Edmonton Challenger and then the Montreal Elite. And I'm excited for
Right, the Challengers also.
I'm excited for both of those because in Edmonton's an hour away from where my whole family is, so that'll be a pretty
Okay.
exciting time to kind of get the whole family together and have a whole bunch of friends come out and see me play live because like I grew up there. I have all my friends there, and a lot of people that I know never have seen me play live. So I'm actually like probably more excited for Edmonton just for that because it's so close to home. But then obviously having an elite in Montreal is pretty amazing as well. So it's really cool that Canada's getting that. I'm still Canadian at heart, and I'll always be Canadian as well. But and I'm happy for the players in Canada that they get that opportunity to host event and have their have that home court advantage, and I think all that's fantastic. So I don't have any hard feelings with anyone in Canada, so it's great. But yeah, it'll be cool to go play on home soil and where I grew up, and kind of see how that goes. I'm excited for July for that to happen.
How do you decide when to play AVP and when to play World Tour
Yeah,
FIVB?
it's obviously a little bit tricky because AVP is a huge part of our lives too, and sponsors they love the AVP, and it gives us more
Sure.
opportunities to make money, and it's a very fun tour to play on. So we kind of we want to play as many challengers, Olympic qualifiers, elites that we can in order to get that spot. So it's definitely the priority this year, and we're gonna hopefully be able to still play a lot of the AVPs and kind of mix and match a little bit. The nice part about it is that there are a ton of challengers at the end of the year. There's a lot of events in general, so I think we will have plenty of opportunities to do really well. But yeah, it's kind of like we don't. It's kind of we take it a month at a time. Like how did the last month go of playing, and how's our bodies feeling? Do we want to be on the road in Europe for 5 weeks straight, or do we want to come back for a week and then play Hermosa or play one of these events that might be beneficial for us to be home and play just physically from where we're at. So we kind of take it a month out approach and kind of figure out what we want to do at that point, depending on what our Olympic ranking is at. What are the other American teams doing? What are we doing? It's tricky, so you got to kind of keep it in the short term and can't really decide everything at once, basically. So that's kind of the best of that I have, but do know that we will be playing most of the World Tour events, and then as many AVPs as we can squeak in. So yeah.
So then it's only to me to say thanks, and I hope to see you in person in Ostrava or
Yeah,
somewhere in Europe.
that'll be great.
So thanks for your time again. Have a great rest of the day, and I keep my fingers crossed for all the next
Thank you,
tournaments.
Niels. Yeah, we'll see you in Ostrava, and thanks for the interview. I appreciate all the great questions.